We here. What's up, people? We are here talking that shit. Welcome. Hotep-ish, intelligent-ish talk. Intelligent shit talk. Oh, I didn't even play my commercial, did I? Well, I didn't even send you. I keep forgetting to send you the commercial.
Yep.
Well, it's called because I'm getting everything redone. I'm
rebranding.
Just that DwannB.com is about to come up because my Hotep-ish site, my Incense and Ashtray site, is some major plug-in issues, and so my best t-shirts like the John Henry Clark shirt and all that stuff, I ain't been able to sell in months because of some bullshit that's tech shit. So I'm getting a whole new site. And on my new site, guess what, Sarah?
What?
My live drum sample packs.
What?
Will be on there.
That's dope.
Y'all know I'm a professional drummer, and I recorded these sample packs a year ago, and they're right now hosted on JMO's site, swagsample.com, and they selling well over there. But I'm about to put them on my own site, and then I'm going to package them, and then I'm going to get some new beats and shit like that ready to go. You know what I mean? I got a funk pack for you niggas who need some funk drumming. I got a R&B pack for some soulful shit. And guess what? I even have an Afro Beats drum pack.
Oh yeah, I want to hear that one.
And crazy part about it is my Afro Beats drums. The drums are so sick. The drums are sicker than anything you'll ever hear on an Afro Beats song. Why? Because the originals are the ones playing it. You dig?
Oh, wow. That's dope.
We created Afro Beats here. Fela created them after he came to America. And he said, according to himself, when he intersected with the James Brown Black Power movement and American instrumentation, that's what gave him his sound, which he took back to Africa and made it Afro Beats. So salute to Fela Kuti and salute to all the true Afro Beats artists who are doing it for the love and for the art and not for the clout. You dig?
Amen to that.
So we into it. Somebody said I gentrified Afro Beats. Hey, my Afro Beats pack is one of the ones selling the most. Like, Afro Beats is popular shit. I'm a capitalist too. If the sound is popular, I'm playing it. That's what my father-in-law taught me. Like you know, he's the composer to the song "Brick House" by the Commodores.
What? She's a brag.
Yeah, and he's also the person that wrote the vamp that wrote the music behind "Dancing Machine" by Michael Jackson. That whole doo 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 doo. That's his music.
Goodness, that's legendary.
Yeah, he's a legend. And he always talks about how, like, funk was his favorite style of music to produce and things like that. But he's like, funk is my favorite to produce, but that crossover shit sold.
Okay.
He's like, the funk was his favorite, but the music he did with Kenny Rogers, that shit paid the bills.
Okay. No one to fault him.
You know, and so, it is. It's about jumping on whatever sound it is. And then, like, and I'm gonna break it down before I get into the show, all the way deep into the show. I just kind of do the shit off the top of my head. When I was talking music with my father-in-law, Mr. Carmichael, last week, and he was talking about the good old days of recording, Sarah, like back in the 60s.
Mm-hmm. When they had real instruments.
Yeah, and he was just talking about how, like, you know, in the studio back then, they would have the whole band and the orchestra in the studio at the same time. So you have an orchestra in the middle, you have the drums on this side, the bass over here, the horns over there, you know what I mean? The background singer's here, and the singer will be standing in front of the orchestra singing. Like when they, because back then, this before they started being able to track different tracks. You know, this back when they only had like 2 tracks. He's like, so he's talking to me like the development from 2-track to 4-track to 8-track to 16 to 32-track.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, back when it was on 2-track, basically you had a singer in a booth, but basically everybody else would be in the band together. And they would basically get one rehearsal with the song, and they would have to sight read the song. And he was talking about a recording session he did with Sam Cooke. And like that music back then, so the musicians that you hear playing the music, they literally sight read the music. Like they're looking at it and reading it on site and playing it on site. 2 takes, it's recorded, sent out. But it would be like, back then it would be like 5 recording sessions a day, he said. So like it'd be like an 8 a.m. session doing country western. Then you have like an 11 a.m. session, and that would be doing pop. He said for some reason pop recordings were always in the daytime, and then you'll have a 3 o'clock recording session, and that recording session will be more blues or to be jazz, and then like a 7 p.m. recording section that would be R&B. And so basically, then he said, well, after that, some days they wouldn't even go to sleep because NBC, he said they do a lot of recording over on Sunset and Vine. Mm-hmm. And he said some days, like, you wouldn't even go to sleep because it will be a recording session across the street at NBC Studios, and they will be recording a soundtrack for a TV show. Why am I saying all this?
A lot of cocaine back then.
No, this before cocaine.
Oh.
This before cocaine. Heroin was with the jazz guys, but this before the cocaine thing became a thing. What he's saying was basically this: whether you're listening to country western, pop music, R&B, blues, jazz, it was the same nigga musicians playing behind all that. And that's what people pretend not to understand when it comes down to the different genres of music. You got literally the same musicians playing everything. Mm-hmm. So there really are no difference in genres. The only is difference in moods and expression. Mood and expression is the difference between genres. Because if you're playing pop, the music gonna be faster. It's gonna be on top of the beat. If you're playing R&B, it's gonna be slower and behind the beat. You know what I mean? So it's just different expressions. So when y'all listen to these people talk about music and all of these different genres and this and that and the other, and they talking about, well, you trying to appropriate this and you trying to appropriate that, and these people, it was a small group of black musicians that was playing everything. So remember that. And white musicians too. I'm not gonna take credit because it's some funky ass white musicians too, like that boy Paco, the drummer from Sly and the Family Stone. That white boy is two of the funkiest drummers ever. It was two white boys. One was a drummer from Sly and the Family Stone, or three. The drummer from Sly and the Family Stone, the drummer David Garibaldi from Tower of Power, and the white boy drummer from Rufus and Shaka Khan. And the white boy guitarist from the Stone City Band with Rick James. So it's always been some funky ass white boys in our music. I'm not gonna shortchange the white boys.
Shaka Khan was a good drummer too, though.
She was good, but their drummer was white. It was a white dude, and that motherfucker was funky. So, but again, that's how it is when it comes to music and our sound. But on to the topic of the day. We're talking about why I stand with Ja Morant. Ja Morant has been coming under a lot of scrutiny lately. And it's like, no matter what, and this funny thing about this game, Sarah, as much as niggas like me talk, it's like no matter what you talk about, no matter how much you say something, people hear whatever the fuck they want to hear. You know?
Yep.
And I'm responding. It was some comments on my, I talked about this yesterday on my Facebook. I mean, not on my YouTube channel. Go back and tune into last night's YouTube. I got real detailed about my point of view with Ja Morant, but I'm gonna expound upon that detail today, and then we're gonna get into it. But basically what I was saying was, you know, with Ja Morant, the media is going to work on him. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna sit here and help the media shit on him for pulling out a gun. He just all he did was pull out a gun. The same guns we've been seeing on Bugs Bunny cartoons since we was a day old. The same guns we see on TV shows. The same guns we see on the news. The same guns, like America has more guns than people, you know? Mm-hmm. And to have all of this phony outrage over a young man pulling up a gun, it's fake. And I'm calling all you niggas out. Y'all niggas are fake. Y'all fake. I don't respect it. Y'all fake. Because it's a lot of shit going on in this country right now. It's a lot of things that we need to be outraged about. And if you wait for the ESPN and the media to give you outrage over somebody pulling out a gun, you fake. And I don't, you know, it's fake. You're fake. I don't even want to say it on top of it. It's fake. Because, you know what I mean? What did he harm? Who did he harm? What ultimately happened? Would we even have known he pulled out a gun had ESPN not spent 27 hours a day covering it.
Exactly.
You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so you get these niggas that want to be fake moral authority, what he should do, what he shouldn't have done, what he should have done, and how guns harm our community. Let me tell you niggas that talk like that something. Guns got into our community in the 80s, right? Black America's been getting fucked up for 400 years. Ain't a damn thing that the gun brought that the government wasn't doing before the gun got there. The hood wasn't, you go back and listen to Malcolm X. Malcolm X he died before the guns got to the hood. He was talking about the same shit we talking about now. Mm-hmm. All you gotta do is just goddamn listen. You know? And I remember, you know, so our issue is dealing with poverty. Our issue is dealing with white supremacy and money being taken away from our neighborhoods. Yes, I said white supremacy, and I ain't. Niggas be, oh man, you going there? Yes, I'm going there. Our issue is the economic deprivation. What's economic deprivation? The inability to earn an income based on the color of your skin. That's what real white supremacy is. All this, they call me nigga. I ain't, you know, go fuck if a white boy called me nigga. Who the fuck is he? You know, I don't mean shit. You can't hurt me with a word. But you can't hurt me when my auntie can't get a job because of the color of her skin, you know? Mm-hmm. And at the beginning of the season, it came out, and last summer, Robert Sarver, owner of the Phoenix Suns, this motherfucker was hurting the employment of black people with his Phoenix Sun organization, being racist to people within the organization because of the color of their skin and harming them economically. And although black folks may have said one or two things, niggas was like, well, man, that's just what it is. Nigga pull out a gun, now all of a sudden every nigga out there is a moral authority. What the fuck kind of shit is this?
For real.
Who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? And so the way I see it, it's a young man that made a mistake, you know? And he's gonna make more mistakes. That's what happens when you're in your 20s. But living your life in the spotlight, that's not, this whole thing that happened with Ja isn't an indictment on Black America or what's wrong with the youth. This is a young man that made a mistake, and that's it. You know? Go ahead, Sarah.
I think that it's very, very sad that he's getting they're showing all this attention on the ESPN and stuff about that, but there's nothing of talking about the Ohio State football players, star players that just got cleared because a white girl had accused them of rape. They lost their years of they were stars, and now he's 25, but he really still wants to, you know, play in the NFL one day. But his whole thing was stopped because of a lie. That's serious, and that's something that should be out there. But instead, they blowing up and trying to mess this man's life up too.
They trying to mess.
It's a different kind of rape.
It's way different, and so what's happening is. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to make sure y'all share this shit on YouTube. Make sure y'all share this shit. Make sure y'all share this shit. Make sure y'all share it. Dublin, my bad. That's me. I'm over here trying to. I'm going on my phone right now. Y'all gonna see me in the chat room.
Oh, I know.
Sharing this to Twitter.
I know what happened.
So I need y'all to do what I'm do. Share the Comedy Press, and then put that hoe out there. And go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go wherever the fuck you go, and hit Dwann is live now, and we're gonna get into it. You feel me? There we go. I just hit tweet. I just tweeted it. You see it says at the bottom, hey, Comedy Press, I shared your broadcast. So you niggas don't be lying. I can see in the comments if you niggas really shared or not. So make sure all you motherfuckers share the shit. You feel me? So back to what we talking about.
Oh, someone's talking about Brett Favre. It doesn't get mentioned. Actually, Brett Favre is trying to sue Shannon Sharp right now for talking about him.
Brett Favre didn't get mentioned, and that goes in. We gonna get into the whole Chris Rock special. How his ass didn't mention Brett Favre either, but he want to bring up OJ. Geez. Shit that happened 30 goddamn years ago, but he want to bring up Brett Favre. We gonna talk about that whole shit later on too. Yeah, thank you, Netta J, for sharing it. Netta J 83, salute to you for sharing the broadcast. Make sure y'all share this shit to wherever y'all at. And cause we talking that real shit right now. You feel me? So back to what we talking about. So Ja Morant did what he did, and I want to say this, Sarah, and I said this last time on my YouTube show. I'm a straight-laced person. I grew up in the middle of the hood, though. You know what I mean? And I'm straight-laced because I saw what that street life does to people, you know? I grew up in the middle of South Central LA, you know, on 3 different sides of South Central LA. I grew up in the hood of the hoods. You know, I'm talking about east of the 110 freeway hood. I grew up off Crenshaw and King hood. And then I grew up in the better neighborhood. Once I got older, I was in the black neighborhood with a lot of money in View Park. You know what I mean? So I lived in 3 different variations of black neighborhoods all throughout LA. And I live in the hood. I live in South Central now. I never left South Central. I still live near the 110 freeway. I ain't one of them niggas that ever left the hood, you know? And I ain't one of them niggas that had to move out to Palmdale and Lancaster, because what happens is most of the niggas that be talking shit about the hood, you be niggas that lived in Compton back in the 90s, and you niggas got kicked out to San Bernardino back in the 2000s or Palmdale, or, you know, and you ain't really, and the only thing you hear about the hood is what your cousins told you, but you left 30 fucking years ago, 20 years ago, and everything everything when a situation like Ja Morant come up, you get these niggas that don't even live in the hood no more, talking all kind of shit, being judgmental, and y'all was the main ones terrorizing the hood back in the 90s. That'd be the worst part about it. It's always them niggas that was actually banging, them niggas that was actually, no disrespect to the niggas that was going to jail, but y'all be the main ones criticizing the young folks. I know, do you notice that pattern, Sarah?
Yep.
It be the people who wasn't doing shit in their 20s be the main ones talking about.
The main ones.
And it's like, yeah, you doing better now, but lest we forget, nigga, I was in college when you was going up and down Crenshaw terrorizing motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Beating people's cars with a bat just because they turned down Victoria. Yeah, niggas used to do that on Crenshaw. You know what I mean?
Damn.
There was one dude I know, this nigga had 3 kids by 3 different women by the age of 23, didn't take care of 2 of them. Now he in his 40s to get his life right. He want to judge Ja Morant for holding a gun. Nigga, what? The fuck kind of... Are we living in a bizarre world? I remember you niggas when we was in our 20s talking shit about Ja Morant now. What the fuck? Like, for me, I was a straight-laced person, even though I saw 3 people getting murdered by the time I was 9, you know, with a gun. My elementary school was always getting shot up, you know? It used to be a market called Sunnyside Market. It was on Martin Luther King Boulevard and Coliseum. On the other side of MLK is the Jungles. Across MLK is a fire station, that market, and behind that market is my elementary school. And it was always some shit going on in that market before the riots. The riots burned down that market. I'm the nigga who grew up saying my whole neighborhood burned down during the riots. You know what I mean? And so I grew up in the middle of this shit. I saw what the hood does to people, you know? And we sitting in class learning how to write an essay in the 4th grade, and I got to hear crack, 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 crack. Gunshots ring out 50 feet from me, but on the other side of the wall, and I'm trying to take an English test, wondering if that person died or not, because I'm hearing the ambulance come, you know? And then the ambulance run off. And I grew up in an extremely traumatic environment, you know? I grew up, we used to have drive-bys on our house because I grew up in a blood neighborhood, and for like 2 years, my next door neighbor was a Crip. And this is back when red and blue really mattered. We talking 1989, 1990 LA. Back when LA had the highest murder rate in the country. I grew up in the middle of that shit. My house that I grew up on, and me and my brother waking up in the morning picking up shell casings, trying to figure out how many we can get. And our house get hit by guns. So I'm the kind of nigga that grew up in the middle of this shit, you know? And I still have trauma I haven't let go from some of the shit that I seen, you know?
Yeah.
But I've never allowed my trauma to define me. A lot of black people go through this shit and they wear that shit like a badge of honor. And especially when you niggas get around white folks. Y'all be the main ones. Man, I grew up in the hood, man. Man, it was just tough making it out, man. All your homies is dead. Nigga, you 50. You wouldn't even still been around them niggas anyway. If they're still alive, y'all would have grew different directions anyway. Like, and no disrespect to you still want to mourn the dead. You know, I still got rest in peace, Nate, rest in peace. I got a lot of friends that I had to bury. But I don't define myself by that. I don't define black people by that. because although I saw a handful of people get shot, although I have seen a handful of people and a fair amount of people die at a young age, I know way more that lived. You know? I lived way more days where somebody didn't get shot than days that did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I go out in the hood, like again, I still live in the hood. I ain't one of you crackerjack ass niggas that moved out the hood talking shit. I still live in the hood. I still got to go home and see spray painting the hoods on the walls when I'm going to go park my car. I still, when my wife come home, walk outside with that pistol on my motherfucking hip to make sure my wife get in the house safely. You know what I mean? So I ain't one of these crackerjack ass niggas that moved to Vegas and now running my mouth about what used to happen. I'm still in it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, somebody got shot at the liquor store in the corner. Just yesterday when I was walking on this, I'm not going to tell y'all where I live, but I walked down to the corner and because I saw the little candles out front. Somebody just died. I heard the gunshots.
Wow.
And I was smoking a blunt last night. Let me at least go by there and, you know, they put a picture up of who it was and got the person's name. Let me at least pay my respects to the dead, even though I don't know, what happened. So I ain't, but I said that to say that I don't allow the hood to define me. I'm still a man. And I understand that. Although I'm straight-laced, even though I grew up in that environment and I didn't get caught up in it, because I had two really solid parents, you know what I mean? Still do. I called my mommy about 10 minutes before we started. I heard she wasn't feeling good. Like, Mom, what's up? Oh, I'm good. You need me to bring you some soup? But I was raised with a level head and a level environment, loving environment within a traumatic environment, you know? So I said that to say I never have like fake gangsters. Like if I knew John Morant, if I was 23 and John Morant was 23 and he lived in my, and I see he grew up in a household like mine with two good solid parents and he's acting like he's tough, I wouldn't have been cool with him. I never have like niggas like that.
Exactly.
Niggas like that are weird to me. Like, cause I respected the gang culture enough to not ever want to get involved with it. I was a square. I was a proud square. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Let me go towards Culver City on my bike. I'm not going towards, I never rode my bike east of Lamert Park, you know? Let's go west. But I remember growing up and seeing cats my age. I remember seeing cats my age, especially when All Eyes on Me dropped by Tupac. When All Eyes on Me dropped, I saw y'all. You ain't seen an influx of fake gangsters in your life until you go back to 1995, 1996 LA, and Death Row is popping. You know, we coming off The Chronic, we coming off Doggy Style, and then All Eyes on Me drop, nigga. Every straight-laced nigga that grew up in a two-parent household with dental insurance was saying cuz at school the next day.
Okay.
And I hated it, Sarah. I hated it. Because it's like, dude, we over here at Westchester High School, man. We over here on the west side. If I wanted to deal with this shit, my home school was Dorsey High. I would have stayed at Dorsey if I wanted to deal with this bullshit. You know what I mean? I could have went to, niggas at Centennial and Locke are really living this shit. We over here at Westchester by the airport. You know what I mean? The ocean is, nigga, the beach is a 10-minute walk from school, nigga. We used to sit, you can sit on the overlook at Westchester High School and see the planes landing at LAX airport. So why the fuck are you banging, nigga? You know, I hate them kind of niggas. I always have. Because they're the kind of niggas that'll get you shot. You know? The straight-laced niggas are doing their own thing over here, but if you got a perpetrating nigga, if you're in a crew of 4 dudes, and one of those niggas is obviously perpetrating, this is LA, this is Show Me City. Them niggas from Inglewood High, them niggas from Morningside, them niggas they was gonna come to the bus at the Market Street in Manchester and test you and see what are you about. Well, matter of fact, them niggas will come up to Westchester sometimes. You know what I mean? So I never liked being around people like John Morant that be perpetrating because they'll get all y'all fucked up.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying it to defend him. And if you hear me, to show you my growth as a human being and as a man, when I was 23, I would have been one of you niggas judging John Morant saying, he should have did this and he should have did that, blah, blah, blah. I would have been saying that shit too. But it's something you got to realize when you step outside of yourself. Everybody lived their life journey. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we live in a world that big ups gang violence. We live in a world that big ups gun culture. Gun culture is everything in this country. You know, you can't turn on a TV show without a gun being flashed. You know, how does America solve its problems? It throws guns. We have people in the hood that can't get a dollar thrown their way, but America can send guns to motherfucking what's that, Ukraine? You know, back in 2013 they were sending guns to Syria, and then they were sending guns to Kosovo in 1998. It's like every 2 or 3 years this country sending guns places. Hell, they send guns to the hood. It's guns everywhere. My only issue with Ja Morant was that little bitch ass gun he had. Yeah. That nigga should have had a Desert Eagle.
The little piece of shit.
Yeah, that nigga should have been crip walking on a shotgun. That nigga should have had a shotgun and be like, ooh. Nigga, this is my message with the whole Ja Morant situation. Black people need to become more threatening. Stop, nigga, all that. We don't need to be showing guns. No, I like seeing young black folks with guns. We need more of that. We need black family pictures with nigga, just a whole family. Everybody got a gun in their hand, including the 2-year-old, nigga. Because that's the world we live in. And this whole time we've been in this country, the guns have always been pointed towards us. You dig what I'm saying? The people who are thugs and criminals, they got guns. It's time for upstanding citizens to bear their legal responsibility. You know, legal rights, Second Amendment. Do it legally. Don't do no illegal shit. Get trained, get properly trained too. You know what I mean? But, nigga, I don't have an issue with black men holding a gun. Why is that scary, you cornball ass niggas? Now, on one hand, you know, Ja Morant should know better because he works for the NBA. And if you work for the NBA, they have their image clauses. And you got to follow the image clause. And you got to follow, you know, do what they say you need to get done. It's and so, strict. You know what I mean? And so you have a job. That's why, like me, the reason why I'm just not coming out and being more vocal on YouTube and on Caffeine, because when I had my job, I didn't really, I kind of weaseled around what I would say because I work for somebody. Somebody else paid me. If I'm working under your organization, I have to respect your rules. I'm a man of respect. I do believe in respect. If you do work for somebody, you got to respect their house. If Caffeine came in and told me you can't do woonty wham, or I'll be like, cool, as long as I'm here, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, okay, if I'm gonna do programming on your content, boom, boom, boom. I believe in respect, you know? YouTube say you can't talk about this topic, that topic. I don't talk about those topics on YouTube because that's YouTube's house, you know? Mm-hmm. So Ja Morant, on one hand, he does need to learn respect, but that's a conversation that we have in-house as black people. You know what I mean? He has a father. I'm sure his father's already talked to him, you know? I'm sure there are people in his circle that have already told him right and wrong. We don't need to be jumping in with them folks against our folks. Because did they jump in and say, of course, black folks said some things about, how many white people said anything about Brett Favre? Any other white folks? Did Peyton Manning say anything about Brett Favre? No. Did Tom Brady or John Madden did, but did what's that dude, that Troy Aikman and them announcers, did they say anything about Chris Berman?
Not at all.
Did they say anything about, you know, Chad Wheeler what were the white athletes to condemn Chad Wheeler when he beat his black girlfriend nearly to death? Like, sometimes black people, you could just shut the fuck up. Sometimes you can just shut the fuck up. The man has a father, he has a family, he'll learn. And you can't be in your fucking 30s, 40s, and 50s talking about a 23-year-old. When I was 23, would I have brandished a gun on Instagram? No. I didn't even have a gun at 23. I wouldn't have had one to brandish. But there's other dumb shit I did at 23, you know? I didn't do what he did. I didn't do that dumb shit, but I did other dumb shit. Thank God it wasn't recorded on Instagram, you know? And so we got to stop with the dumb shit and the dumb talk. You know what, black folks? Niggas gonna fuck up. That's how life works. We ain't perfect. You know what I mean? And I allow our youngsters to make mistakes because that's what youngsters do. Your 20s are supposed to be about making mistakes. You're supposed to make mistakes in your teens and 20s. Literally, you're supposed to. Because you got to figure this out. Life ain't a clean path of knowing it all the time. You know better when you fuck up. And those of us who do better in life are the ones that, when we fuck up, we just don't fuck up twice, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We just don't fuck up 3 times. Like the same thing. Okay, I fucked up this time. My next fuck up is gonna be in a different area, not this area. That's the best you can do in life. Don't make the same mistake twice. You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we can ask for about Ja Morant. You know what I mean? Yeah. Somebody say I went bankrupt in my 20s. Yeah, I went bankrupt in my 20s too. Yeah, I had some opportunities. I capitalized on some opportunities in my 20s. But then shit didn't work out because when you don't know better, you do dumb shit, and you go bankrupt. So the thing
where they
is,
can also find more information if they log on to Caffeine, because we're about to leave YouTube.
We're gonna leave YouTube, but before we leave YouTube, let me finish this point on Ja Morant. That
Gotcha.
For those of you on YouTube, I'm gonna tie the whole Chris Rock situation into it. But I'm gonna do, when we go over to Caffeine, I'm gonna do a break with the song of the day. We're gonna play a song of the day, Incense and Ashtray song of the day. Then we're gonna talk about the Chris Rock situation, and we're gonna tie in the Chris Rock situation with the Ja Morant situation. Because I wanna talk to y'all about framing narratives and how coverage is done. And we about to get real deep. It's gonna get really interesting because I had some confusion on YouTube with people talking about, got a lot of people in the comments and also on Twitter saying, well, because I said Ja Morant doesn't get, they don't really fuck with him like that coverage-wise, but they more so promote Jokic. And I was contrasting that, but it's a very deep concept that I want to explain a little bit deeper because some people seem not to get it. And before I call you niggas dumb, let me just explain it a little bit better. And if you still don't get it after I explain it, then I'll call you dumb.
What?
But I'm gonna close the point out about Ja Morant, then we're gonna switch over to Caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
With Ja Morant and his situation, one thing that doesn't work as a community is all of us always shitting on our youth. And I noticed this back when I was a teenager in my 20s. I'm like, damn, we don't know no better, but these grown people are always shitting on us. Like these old niggas did anything to help us out to put us in a better position. So why they running their goddamn mouth? And so I vowed when I was 15, I'm not gonna be that old nigga that shits on the young generation. Now I'll correct the young generation and tell them when things ain't going the right way, but I'm not gonna shit on them because I love them little niggas. They need us just like we need them, So I think one thing that we can change as a community, you don't like what Ja Morant did, offer some correction to him if you know him. But if you see the media jumping in on him and Shannon Sharp, anytime you see Shannon and Stephen A. Smith jumping in on somebody, you niggas should know better. Why would you ever join them two buck dancing ass niggas? Their job is to say what white folks want to say but can't say. You dumb. Why the fuck would you ever echo a Stephen A. Smith or a Shannon Sharp or any of these clown ass niggas on ESPN? Why would you ever echo them shit on black people? Why would you do that? You know what I mean? Don't just leave it. If you don't have anything good to say about the young man in front of them folks, leave them alone. And we're going to explain why and how these narratives are framed and how that ties into Chris Rock over on Caffeine. So I need you niggas to flip on over to Caffeine. And over on Caffeine, we're going to take a quick song of the moment break. And then we're going to finish out and get to the second half of the Boomty Wham Boomty Bam that we talking about. You flip. As I said,